Padre Pio, the beloved mystic of the 20th century, carried an unshakable devotion to the Rosary, often calling it his weapon of choice in the spiritual battles he faced daily. He did not merely recommend the Rosary as an occasional prayer, but rather as an essential, daily lifeline to heaven. For Padre Pio, the Rosary was not a decorative string of beads, nor an empty tradition, but a living chain that bound the soul to the Blessed Virgin Mary, and ultimately to the heart of her Son, Jesus Christ. Among the many recommendations he gave to his spiritual children, one particular piece of advice continues to resonate powerfully. Padre Pio urged the faithful to keep the Rosary close, and especially to place it beneath their pillow at night. While this may seem like a simple or quaint practice, Padre Pio revealed profound spiritual reasons behind it, reasons that might shock even the most devout believers. He explained that keeping the Rosary under your pillow is not a superstitious gesture, but a tangible expression of trust in heaven's protection. It signifies that even in sleep, when we are most vulnerable and unaware, we desire to remain in the presence of God, under the maternal care of Our Lady, and guarded by the angelic hosts. Padre Pio believed that this simple act invites divine grace into the most hidden hours of our lives, sanctifying our rest and filling our nights with invisible blessings. The first reason Padre Pio gave for this practice is spiritual protection during the vulnerable hours of the night. He explained that when we sleep, our defenses are lowered. We cannot actively pray. We are unaware of our surroundings, and we become more susceptible to the attacks of the enemy. Padre Pio, who personally endured relentless spiritual assaults from the forces of darkness, understood this better than anyone. He taught that placing the Rosary under your pillow is like placing a shield of light over your mind and soul as you rest. Even though our lips may be silent, the Rosary's presence speaks volumes in the spiritual realm, serving as a silent cry for heaven's guardianship. Padre Pio emphasized that the Rosary, especially when blessed, is a sacramental that radiates grace. By keeping it under your pillow, you surround yourself with a spiritual safeguard, allowing the heavenly court to watch over you. He described how the devil despises the Rosary because it continually calls down the intercession of Mary, the one who crushes the serpent's head. Padre Pio taught that even if you are not awake to recite its prayers, the Rosary's mere proximity is enough to repel the shadows of fear, anxiety, and spiritual oppression that may seek to disturb your rest. The second reason, according to Padre Pio, is to invite the companionship of your guardian angel and the saints into your rest. He taught that the Rosary acts as a beacon, attracting the presence of holy intercessors. Padre Pio often reminded his followers that sleep is not simply a physical necessity, but a sacred time of renewal and restoration, a gift from God that prepares us for the battles of the coming day. When the Rosary lies beneath your pillow, it silently calls upon the angels and saints to keep vigil over you, transforming your bedroom into a sanctuary of grace. Padre Pio revealed that the guardian angel, ever watchful, rejoices when we show such devotion, for it signals to heaven that our soul desires God's presence even in our most unconscious hours. He taught that this companionship is not imaginary, but deeply real. An invisible assembly of heavenly friends encircling the sleeper, praying over them, and keeping them safe from harm. Through the humble Rosary beneath your pillow, you invite heaven's light to push back the shadows, ensuring that your sleep becomes a time not of vulnerability, but of silent communion with the divine. Padre Pio also taught that keeping the Rosary under your pillow serves a third and equally profound purpose. It sanctifies your dreams and subconscious thoughts. While this might sound mystical, Padre Pio explained it with remarkable clarity. He understood that the human mind does not simply shut off when we sleep. Even in rest, our thoughts, memories, and emotions continue to stir beneath the surface. He believed that the presence of the Rosary near our head and heart as we sleep acts as a spiritual filter, guarding our thoughts and dreams from unholy influences and temptations that can arise even in the silent hours of the night. He explained that when we go to bed with the Rosary close by, we silently dedicate our rest to God. Padre Pio spoke of how this small act invites the Holy Spirit to hover over our minds, to cleanse our imaginations, and to inspire even our subconscious with thoughts of virtue and peace. He described how many saints and mystics reported dreams of heavenly realities, visions of Our Lady, or comforting experiences of angelic presence during the night. Padre Pio believed that while not every person will receive such dreams, the soul that surrounds itself with holy objects like the Rosary is more likely to be visited by these consolations of grace. Padre Pio's recommendation, then, was not about superstition or empty ritual. It was about consecrating even the quietest corners of our lives to God. He often taught that holiness is not reserved for grand gestures, but is found in the hidden, ordinary moments of daily living, including the way we approach our sleep. By placing the Rosary beneath your pillow, you are essentially saying to heaven, "Even in my rest, I belong to you. Guard me, guide me, and fill my nights with your peace." Padre Pio wanted every soul to understand that God's grace does not sleep, and neither does his watchful care over us. Furthermore, Padre Pio explained that this practice instills a holy habit of starting and ending each day with God in mind. When you place the Rosary under your pillow at night, it naturally becomes the first thing you see or feel upon waking. This gentle reminder immediately lifts your thoughts heavenward before your feet even touch the ground. Padre Pio often said that beginning the day with prayer strengthens the soul against the temptations and distractions that await us. By keeping the Rosary close, your very first moments of consciousness are linked to Our Lady and the mysteries of Christ's life, filling your morning with purpose and grace. Padre Pio believed that such habits, though small, have a tremendous impact over time. He taught that consistency in these little devotions builds spiritual fortitude. Day by day, as you end your evenings and begin your mornings with the Rosary in hand or under your pillow, you train your soul to turn instinctively toward God. He explained that even if weariness prevents you from lengthy prayers at night, this simple act alone becomes a prayer of the heart, a physical expression of your desire to remain united to Christ and His Blessed Mother at all times. And Padre Pio, always so practical and tender toward the faithful, reminded his spiritual children that life is full of unpredictable moments. There may be nights of sorrow, sickness, or fear when formal prayers feel difficult or impossible, but the Rosary under your pillow remains as a silent witness of your faith, speaking to heaven on your behalf. Padre Pio saw this as an act of humble surrender, a way of telling God and Our Lady, "Even when my strength fails, I entrust myself to you." In these quiet, vulnerable moments, the Rosary under your pillow becomes more than beads. It becomes a lifeline to the heart of God. Padre Pio, in his profound love for the faithful, always emphasized that the power of the Rosary is not limited to the hours when we are awake and active in prayer. He often said that heaven watches over us most tenderly in our weakest moments, including when we sleep. Keeping the Rosary under your pillow, Padre Pio explained, is like placing a blessed seal upon your resting hours, claiming them for God's glory. He wanted the faithful to understand that our souls are precious, not only during times of prayer or work, but also in our silent hours of rest. The Rosary becomes a spiritual safeguard, encircling our nights with the mysteries of Christ's life, death, and resurrection. He also taught that this practice has a mysterious yet powerful effect on the spiritual atmosphere of the entire household. Padre Pio firmly believed that the presence of the Rosary, especially when kept with reverence and love, sanctifies the home. He described how the blessed beads act like a holy barrier, protecting not just the individual sleeper, but extending spiritual blessings throughout the entire space. Evil, Padre Pio explained, recoils from the presence of the Rosary, for it is a weapon forged in the fire of heaven. Even when life's burdens weigh heavily, and when the home feels filled with tension or unrest, the Rosary under your pillow radiates invisible light, reclaiming your space for God. In addition, Padre Pio shared that the practice of keeping the Rosary close at night helps to form holy habits in the soul, habits that strengthen us not just for restful nights, but for spiritual battles during the day. He believed that our daily life flows from the silent moments of our rest. By surrounding our sleep with the grace of the Rosary, we arise in the morning better disposed to live in holiness. Padre Pio explained that this act of devotion builds a subconscious momentum, nudging us toward prayerful awareness throughout our waking hours. The soul that sleeps beneath the protection of the Rosary is more likely to rise with thoughts of God and a heart ready to embrace the day's challenges. Padre Pio went further still, teaching that the Rosary beneath our pillow serves as a silent intercessor, not only for ourselves, but for our loved ones. He encouraged the faithful to pray the Rosary with intentions for their family and friends, especially those who have strayed from the path of faith. Then, by keeping the Rosary close through the night, they continue to offer silent prayers of intercession, even while they sleep. Padre Pio described this as a way of placing our loved ones spiritually under the mantle of Our Lady, trusting her to intercede powerfully for their return to grace and protection from harm. He also taught that this practice unites us more deeply with the communion of saints, that great family of heaven who watches over us with love and intercedes for us before the throne of God. Padre Pio explained that every Rosary prayed, every Rosary kept with devotion, strengthens the bond between the Church on earth and the Church triumphant in heaven. When we sleep with the Rosary beneath our pillow, we are not alone. We are enveloped in the prayers of the saints, the guidance of the angels, and the maternal care of the Blessed Virgin Mary. Padre Pio wanted the faithful to recognize this profound truth and to rest each night in the peace of this holy companionship. Finally, Padre Pio lovingly reminded us that the Rosary, when placed under our pillow, becomes a personal declaration of faith and trust in divine providence. It is as though we are saying to heaven, "I place my life, my dreams, my fears, and my future into your hands." This surrender delights the heart of God and opens the floodgates of His mercy. Padre Pio assured the faithful that this small hidden act of devotion is seen and cherished by heaven, bearing spiritual fruits far beyond what we can comprehend. As we conclude this deeply moving reflection on Padre Pio's guidance, it becomes ever clearer that keeping the Rosary under your pillow is much more than a quaint tradition. It is a profound act of spiritual wisdom. Padre Pio, who saw beyond the veil of this world into the realities of heaven and hell, knew that the Rosary is a chain of grace that binds the soul to divine protection, even in the most vulnerable and silent moments of our lives. He did not speak these words lightly, nor did he offer them as a superstition. For Padre Pio, this practice was a tangible way of living with constant awareness of God's presence and Our Lady's motherly care. He often said that those who sleep beneath the Rosary sleep beneath Mary's mantle. Padre Pio cherished the Blessed Virgin Mary as his most powerful advocate and protector, and he urged all the faithful to place themselves under her care, especially at night, when the dangers of temptation and fear often creep more quietly into our hearts. With the Rosary under your pillow, you symbolically place yourself under the protective mantle of Mary, drawing close to her Immaculate Heart, where no evil dare intrude. Padre Pio reassured the faithful that no matter how restless the world becomes, this act anchors your soul in a place of perfect refuge. Beyond personal protection, Padre Pio taught that this simple gesture can have rippling effects for your family and your household. He believed that the graces called down by the Rosary do not stop at the individual, but flow outward, blessing all who dwell under the same roof. He encouraged parents especially to adopt this practice, teaching that their silent prayers and devotion during the night serve as a shield for their children, inviting the Holy Spirit to dwell in their home and the angels to stand guard. Padre Pio often reflected that many homes suffer from spiritual neglect, but the Rosary transforms an ordinary house into a house of prayer and divine presence. Moreover, Padre Pio emphasized that this practice strengthens our relationship with Jesus himself. The ultimate goal of every devotion to Mary and every prayer of the Rosary. Mary always leads her children to her Son, and by keeping the Rosary near as you sleep, you surround yourself with the mysteries of Christ's life, his passion, his resurrection, and his glory. Padre Pio wanted every soul to understand that the Rosary is not simply about asking for protection. It is about growing in love for Jesus, day by day, night by night, moment by moment. Even in your unconscious rest, your soul is turned toward the heart of the Redeemer. Perhaps most beautifully, Padre Pio assured his followers that heaven smiles upon this small act of devotion. The angels rejoice to see the Rosary beneath your pillow, a sign of your love and trust in God. The saints intercede more fervently, seeing your desire to remain close to divine mysteries, even in sleep. And Our Lady herself, the Queen of the Rosary, looks upon you with special tenderness, wrapping you in her maternal care and whispering your name before the throne of God. Padre Pio wanted us to remember always that even the smallest acts of faith are magnified in heaven's eyes. And so, let us take Padre Pio's counsel to heart. Tonight and every night, let us place the Rosary beneath our pillow, entrusting our rest, our dreams, and our very souls to the care of God and his saints. Let us make this simple habit a nightly declaration of faith, a silent yet powerful prayer that echoes through the hours of darkness. And let us remember always Padre Pio's words, which now carry even greater meaning. Pray, hope, and don't worry. Worry is useless. God is merciful and will hear your prayer. With the Rosary near, we sleep beneath heaven's gaze, and we wake renewed in God's endless mercy.